the mental game and the inner game all are applied, in practice through what we call the SAT. Now, some of you are kind of familiar with it, I know that, but it's how we prepare to hit every shot. Like all of us have, I know all of you have some kind of a pre-shot routine, and it begins with developing a strategy, that fits your game, it fits the situation, and the second thing after you commit totally to a strategy, the next thing is to aim. We want to make sure we aim our club face, aim our body lines. We want to make sure we aim our imagination. When I set up to hit this shot over that fence right there, I saw the shot. So I was aiming not only with my club face and my body, but I also was aiming with my imagination. I was looking and seeing where the shot, was going to go. So S, strategy, pick something you know how to do. A, aim. T is trust. So I was doing this for the Carmel High School boys team in, I don't know, probably a half a dozen years ago. And we're saying, now the important thing, your pre-shot routine is to have a strategy. And they said, well, that's S. And the next is to make sure you take aim. Aim with your club face and your body and your imagination. And the next is make sure that you trust what you're committed to and trust the swing that you have. So they said SAT. And I thought that was really pretty cool. So I said to the kid that came up with it, what's your SAT score? Well, it was an old score in that time. So he said, my SAT score is 1,500. That's a really high score. I said, well, you can probably go to any college you want. And he said, well, yes, I think I'm going to go to Brown. What's your SAT score in golf? We said, well, how can I figure that out? Do you have a test? No, but let's do it subjectively. Last time you played, what percentage of the time do you totally commit to the strategy that you picked? Oh, probably about 70%, because I know that I tried to hit a fade on a couple holes, and I haven't hit a fade in about 2 months. Really not a good idea to try to do it when I'm playing, is it? I said, no, it's not a good idea. Okay, he said about 70%. I said, what time did you totally commit your aim? He said, what do you mean by aiming? Well, I explained to him how I explained to you. And he said, well, I would say probably 50% of the time, I wasn't sure if I was aimed to the right or not. So if I'm not sure, I'm not committed, then my aim is a little off. Okay, 50%. How often did you really trust your swing? He said, well, what's that mean? He said, I don't understand that. I said, well, how often did you just let your swing go without any conscious thought at all? And he said, well, probably about 60% of the time. I said, well, what we need to do then is work on your percentages, because we get you up to 90% in each of the categories, then you can get in the University of Winning the Battle Within, but we have to get your test scores up. Trust is the most elusive. We can say it this way. Last month, I was invited to a seminar in Southern California. Pete Carroll, the famous USC football coach, invited me down to listen to a dialogue between he and Timothy Galway, who's the famous author of all the inner game books. And it was quite an interesting dialogue. It was called The Inner Game in Football. If you notice in the book, chapter 3, it's called Suspending Judgment, and most of that information was taken with Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll is a good friend. He was a graduate student of mine at University of Pacific. We've done a number of different things together. But they had an interesting comment about this whole thing about SAT and the spin-off. When we're playing golf, it's not good for us to be thinking about anything. Certainly not thinking about the swing. Gosh, if I take it straight back, or thinking about, well, if I bogey this one, or gosh, there's a 5-par coming up and I can get there, forward and backward thinking. When our conscious mind is the thing we're in right now, and we're listening to each other, but it really doesn't play golf. The mind that plays golf is what we call the mind of imagination, which is the one that sees shots, feels swings, hears them, and that's where we are when we play. Like jazz musicians, when they do I don't know if you're a jazz fan or not, but I am. but the great improvisational riffs. You know, they have great technique, but when the riff, the innovation and creativity comes, they just do it. And of course in golf we have to do the same thing. We want to get to that place. So Timothy Galway says it's something like this. He says this body that we have is just like a multi-million-dollar computer. It is absolutely complicated. Isn't it amazing that a professional golfer, and some of you, can look at something that say it's 173 yards, can hit it exactly that distance, taking into consideration the lie and the wind and the topography? It's absolutely amazing that the body can do that. Well, we do it sometimes, and they do it more often. So this is a multi-million-dollar computer. They've never been able to match it. It's absolutely amazing. So, but why is it that this conscious mind, this $1 computer, wants to tell the $1 million computer what to do? It says it's really stupid, isn't it? I say it really is. So one of the things that we'll do in our drills today is to work on some drills that we can learn. I know you have a handout here that helps us develop that internal feedback. The ability, you know, to allow this wonderful mechanism, this multi-million-dollar computer, to do what it knows how to do. And of course it has to be trained, but I guarantee you this, that all of you have golf swings, and if we're going to play tomorrow, you got to take the swing you have and learn how to use what you have. And some of you have really nice, flowing, wonderful swings, and some of you it's maybe a little halting, a little jerkier. It doesn't matter. I just know this, that the swing you have now is the one you're going to use tomorrow, and which is fine. So let's learn how to use it. Let's learn how to take this multi-million-dollar computer and really put it in action, you know, in the finest and the most efficient way. Okay, so here we are back to the SAT. So the SAT then is the way we prepare to hit a shot.